Hello students, today is Monday 16th of September 2019. Today we will try to unfold few more stories and we will try to understand the meaning of those stories. Only last week a news came from PMO, that is Prime Minister's office, that two new appointments are being made. Firstly, the appointment of Principal Secretary was made, and Mr. Pramod Kumar Mishra, who is a 1972 batch IAS officer, he was appointed on that post, and subsequently another appointment was made, and that was of Mr. P.K. Sinha, who has been appointed as Principal Advisor in the PMO. Now, this is the first time that these two appointments have made. Earlier, there used to be just one person taking care of the PMO. Prime Minister's office provision has not been there earlier in the whole governance system. There used to be the post of the Principal Secretary. That too was created in 1967 during Indira Gandhi's regime. So that time, if you remember, Mr. P.N. Haksar was made the Principal Secretary, who was taking care of the whole of the work coming from the Prime Minister, and he was yielding lot of position and the prestige during that time. So he remained there on that post from 1967 to 1972. In 1977, the office of the Prime Minister was created. Before that, it was called the Secretariat of the Prime Minister. So in 77, it was renamed and it was called Prime Minister's Office or the PMO. Now, during this Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, this NDA's government, and subsequently the UPA 1 and UPA 2 governments led by Dr. Manmohan Singh, during this almost 15 years, the PMO was there, but PMO was not considered that much important, and particularly during Manmohan Singh's time, a new kind of system of governance or the policy making was introduced, wherein two more groups or institutions were created, which are known as GOM, Group of Ministers, and another is EGOM, that is Empowered Group of Ministers. So all policy making, all important decision making was being done by these two types of groups. And if you remember, most of the EGOM and GOM were being headed by Pranab Mukherjee at one point of time. But then once in 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took over. So he again made the PMO more strong, and within a month of taking over, he scrapped all GOM and EGOM provisions. So now there is just one PMO, but then the new thing in 2014 only which happened, the first Principal Secretary to the PMO was appointed Nripendra Mishra. Now Nripendra Mishra was not eligible for that post, but then an amendment was brought and rules were meant to bring him to that position. Again, almost the same thing has happened last week, wherein one more post has been created. So now there will be two power centers in PMO, as I told you, one Mr. Pramod Kumar Mishra, who is a 1972 batch officer, and another is P.K. Sinha, who is a 1977 batch IAS officer, and he will be the principal advisor to the Prime Minister. And already there is one more powerful person in the PMO who is National Security Advisor. So now there will be three important persons in the PMO. Now coming to another important news which has drawn attention, there is a study conducted by IMF, International Monetary Fund, and University of Copenhagen. This is about FDI in the world. FDI is foreign direct investment. So there are two ways of investment in any country, wherein one country invests in another. It can be either FDI or FII. Now the latest figure shows that the quantum of FDI has reached $15 trillion, which is almost 40% of the total FDI. Now this $15 trillion has come through a route which is called through the countries called tax haven. What is tax haven? Tax haven are the countries, there are a handful of countries in the world which are called tax havens. These are the countries where the tax is either not there or it's very minimal, very less. So many countries of the world invest in FDI in different countries through this route. If we talk about India, there are two important countries, tax haven countries, Singapore and Mauritius, wherein most of the FDI is rooted in India. The third country can also be named is the Netherlands. So in India, these are the three countries. In the world map, if we find there is more countries like Luxembourg is also there, Ireland is also there. Now these are the countries wherein the investment is rooted. Now if a country, any developed country is rooting FDI in India through a company of Mauritius, now that company can make lot of profits in India and can go back without paying any taxes because that company has already paid taxes in Mauritius. Now what this is called? This is called double taxation avoidance treaty. So number of countries enter into this treaty. India has entered with 88 countries this double taxation avoidance country. This means tax is to be paid either, like in this example which I gave, tax is to be paid either in Mauritius or in India. So India is deprived of those taxes and lot of companies make huge profits this way through FDI. If we talk about only the first quarter of the current financial year, $11 billion FDI has been invested in India by only three countries which I already named. So in 2018-19 also $44 billion were invested in India this way. So this is all in today's edition.